Let's save the project. I'll show you a couple of different ways you can do this. Before that, I want to mention that if your model gets askew or something, you can click on Z and go back to the front view, or you can right click on the graphics window and select an appropriate view, say front view. And if you need to translate the model, you can use pan and translate the model, and this will rotate it. So those are some useful options to kind of manipulate the view. Let me close out of Design Modeler with the understanding that this is going to be what's passed on to the mesher and then to the solver. So I'll close out of there, and I'll go back to the project page, and I will select File, Save, and I'll go to an appropriate folder. I've put it under Favorites here, and I'll call it 2D underscore conduction. I was dragged kicking and screaming from Linux into Windows, and in Linux you can't use spaces for file names, so I tend to use underscores. And I'll say save. Let's take a look at the folder where I saved it. You see it's created this file. It's a WBPJ file. It's created an associated folder, and this backup will go away when you save and exit. And if you save your project to a flash drive or a network drive, you need both this file and this folder. I've seen students tripping up because they just save this file and then they're not unable to retrieve the project, and no amount of screaming at the program and using cursors kind of fixes that. So remember to save both of these. And also it's especially as you go to more complicated problems, it's much faster to run it from a local drive than from a flash drive. So if you have it on a flash drive, copy it to a local drive, run your project, and then after you're done, copy it back. And I'll also show you another way to save the project. So I'll go back to Workbench, and I'll say File, Archive, and I'll go to the same folder and I'll give it the same name, and this will save it in a WBPZ file, and it'll give you a single file. And it asks me, do you want results? If I had the nodal temperature values, it would save that. And if you have big models, you can deselect that and it won't save the values of the temperature at the nodes. And then this gives you a small file that you can email to a colleague, and the colleague, she or he would have to kind of right click on the solution, clear generated data, and resolve, and they get everything up. So that's deselecting that you'll get a compact file, but you'll have to rerun the solution. In this case, I don't have the results, and I don't have any imported files external to the project geometry. And I'll say Archive. Now if I go back to the folder, I see I have this WBPZ file. Okay, it's WBPZ, and it's 71 kilobytes. And this is something that is convenient for email, for instance, or you can save it to even a flash drive and so on. And typically what I do is when I'm working on a project, I save it in the conventional format, and when I'm done, I save it in the WBPZ format, and I put it on a flash drive and take it to class or wherever, or to the lab. So those are some ways to save your project.